Let us offer our consecration to the Lord.
Lord, we offer up to you this day, and we ask that your name be glorified in all that we do. We ask that we may know you, love you, and serve you in such a way that all may know of your glory. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Well, today, of course, is Tuesday of the 11th week of Ordinary Time. We're continuing through Tuesday, and we are looking at the we're looking at the second letter of the Vatican, the second letter of Corinthians, and we're in chapter 8. And this actually is a good reflection for us to look at, because he is writing to the Corinthians, and he's also talking about the suffering of the church in Macedonia, but in spite of their, as he says, extreme poverty, they still overflowed in generosity and abundant joy. Well, this is something to look at, and especially when we look at something like collections that we have at Mass. We used to have an expression, we didn't. It was an expression that's out there. And I've actually said that to certain people, had never heard that expression. Just to make it Catholic, we'll have a collection. So a lot of times people look at collection as this responsibility, and we have to put some money into the basket and everything else. And then you'll have priests who will speak about you need to donate more to the collection. Now, I don't think I've ever done that, because I really say if we want to increase the collection, we have to increase the amount of people who come to the collection. Come to the Mass rather, and contribute to the collection. And that's always been the way I've done it. So if you want to increase the collection, you need to increase the amount of people. And that just goes without saying. If you have 300 people at Mass and they all put in $1, then you're going to have $300. If you have 400 people at Mass and you all put in $1, then you have $400. But obviously, the church can't run on $300 or $400 per Mass. There's got to be some other income. And that's why the reality is, first of all, there's these messages about time, talent, and treasure. And the other thing is, please don't be among the people who just put in $1 when you can donate more. But we need to understand what that means. And that's what we see in this reading today. What they're doing is they're celebrating the spread of the word. And when they are celebrating the spread of the word in Macedonia, they are donating for the support of the spread of the word. So in other words, they are donating for the mission. And that is what we're actually called to do, and the way we're actually called to think in terms of the collection. I know for the Catholic Appeal, the message that they have today is we're all in this together, meaning we're all in this to help support the teaching of the faith and everything else. But that's where you want to go when you're coming to donate. You want to work with the parish and the pastor on building a mission for the parish. And that's what you want to do. So that is the message that you want to have, and that is the attitude that you want to have in building the mission for the parish. So we understand that, and we understand that together. So when we get lost and we just say, well, we have to contribute, then you lose that sense of mission, and then it almost at times can become resentful. So let me give you an example. When I was growing up, my home parish at the time used to have 3 collections. Every Sunday was 3 collections. And one of the rules that I've always maintained, since whenever I'm a pastor, is to only have 1 collection for the parish. And therefore, if there is a second collection, it's never for the parish. And people sometimes have come and complained to me about, well, why is there a second? Why do we have so many second collections? And I go, you'll have to take that up with the Archdiocese of Boston, because we only have 1 collection for the parish. All the other collections are for the different causes we state. The church in Latin America, the Peter's Pence, the church in Eastern Europe, the religious sisters, the clergy fund, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So all of those are the second collections were from the Archdiocese. And one of the reasons why we did that is because if you have, two collections, then people don't necessarily contribute more by contributing additionally the second collection. They divide what they contribute into what they normally contribute in the first collection, they contribute in the second. So you understand that. So, I mean, half of that to the second, half of it to the first. So it doesn't increase the collection to add more collections. Generally, it doesn't increase a lot. So instead, you really want to be focused on the one collection. And what is that? For the mission of the parish, to keep the parish going and stuff like that. And therefore, to keep the parish being a sign of the presence of Christ to the people around. We're going to talk more on the other side of the break. We'll be right back right after this. You're listening to St. Anthony Overnight from St. Anthony Parish in Alston. You can now leave a message for us, which we can air and discuss on this program. Just call 617-297-7452. That's 617-297-7452. 617-297-7452. Feel free to call, leave a comment, a question, or even feedback, and we may play it on the air. I can discuss your comment or question as well, so give that a try. 617-297-7452, 617-297-7452. Are you looking for guidance on how to live a purposeful and transformed life? Look no further than Romans 12, a chapter in the New Testament that offers practical wisdom for believers. Romans 12 begins with a powerful call to offer our bodies as living sacrifices to God, urging us to renew our minds and align them with His will. This chapter highlights the importance of humility, using our gifts for the benefit of others, and exercising genuine love. It teaches us to be diligent in serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, persevering in tribulation, and being devoted to prayer. But it doesn't stop there. Romans 12 also teaches us to live in harmony with others, extending kindness and hospitality even to our enemies. It urges us to overcome evil with good and leave vengeance to God. So if you're seeking guidance on how to live a life of love, humility, and service, dive into Romans 12. Let its practical wisdom transform your life. Romans 12, a chapter that offers a roadmap to living a purposeful and transformed Christian life. Available now in the New Testament. Get your copy today. We're back. And so we're talking about this message from St. Paul of the generosity of the Macedonians who were suffering in themselves, but they were also generous, and he was celebrating that. And then I used that to talk about the issue with the collections at Mass. So if your attitude towards the collection becomes, well, it's just something we have to do when we go to Mass, then you're missing the point. What it is to share the message of the gospel, and so you're contributing to that. And, it's going to pay for different things going on in the church. For example, your director of religious education, maybe it's supporting your school. There are parishes in this country that are able to have a school with very low tuition because of the contribution of the parishioners and things like that. There's a parish in Georgia that has its own parish college, it really does. So you look at that, but that's all to spread the message and to bring the message of the gospel. That's what it's about, and that's your mission. And this is what you're called to do. So if you think of the collection as a form of admission, even if I don't necessarily want to use that term, but I think it works, a cover charge. You're doing this in order to support the mission of the church. I'm going to say, well, it's a little different than a cover charge. Well, yes, but if you're going to spend $10 to walk into some form of whatever you're doing, some entertainment or whatever, and you're walking to the church, which, by the way, is not by default entertainment. Never think that. It should never be. But you're walking into a church and you're using it, to help contribute what you believe. And during this time, it's intense. It's intense because we really need to stand up for what we believe. And I'm not talking about standing up and because of, different things. I'm talking about people need to know that Christ is alive. And I think we are at a time in our lives, and if you've ever listened to my homilies, you will know where I'm coming from. A time in our life, we're about to see this major radical change in understanding of the faith and even a unity of faith and science. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you've ever heard me describe the Venn diagram between faith and science, you know that I believe science, as huge as it is, and we'll just to the extent of human knowledge that we can in the future, as far as we can extend, faith is bigger than that. So if you have a Venn diagram, science and all the knowledge of science would be within the huge Venn diagram that would include faith. Because what is faith all about? Faith is all about understanding that there is more knowledge beyond what is humanly capable. There you go. That's the root of faith. So when we start thinking like that and realizing that, then you realize the importance of going to Mass, of having your church in the neighborhood and everything else, because all of that makes a huge difference. All of that makes a huge difference because people can see, wow, maybe we don't believe, but there's something about what they believe just by going to church on Sunday. That's what it is. Or maybe they're angry. There is people who are angry at the church because of what we stand for. And they've been trying, especially over the last 22 years, to destroy the church because of what we stand for. Again, that means we stand for something. We'll be back tomorrow. Have yourself a blessed day. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. Remember, when you're looking for a place to attend Mass, and if you don't already attend Mass at your local parish, come to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. We're located at 43 Holton Street in Allston, just a few blocks up from Soldiers Field Road. And you can check us out, come to our 10 o'clock a.m. Mass, and come to experience our Catholic worship at St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts.